Yeah, if anyone are there in, just mute yourself. Okay. So I'll be doing here. Just same. Okay. So let's get started. So yesterday we stopped at various types of testing. Okay. So let's. Okay, so let's move to the next, testing, which is like, acceptance testing. Okay, so this is what we did, right? Okay, so we have completed the regression testing, right? Till yesterday, we completed the regression testing, and we'll go to the next topic, that is, acceptance testing. Okay, so acceptance testing, right? So it is like, general, it's a general term actually, acceptance. Normally it's called, if you want to be specific, it's called UAT, UAT, user acceptance testing. Okay, so, what you do in the user acceptance is like, you actually verify that, customer, whatever customer requires requirements, right? Whatever the customer has given, let's say some, customer has found some, has its own, features or functionality. Let's say customer wants to recommend, okay, this is how it should be, this application should look like, at that stage, if the company wants to move forward with that, they do the CUAT, CL. The user accept, so user, normally this is a different team, it's not related to functional testing. Okay, the job features might be similar but not same. Okay, they might have same requirements, same business requirements. Okay, and they might do the similar testing but not same. So that's called, acceptance testing. Okay, so this testing is to verify the system meets the customer specified requirements, right? As I told you, right, customer specified requirements, that means customer wants to like specify, okay, hey, this functionality should be added because we have all this in the website, and you guys need to really add this feature because a lot of people come and we actually use this functionality. In that case, right, if company wants to move forward, so they will do this, they will add that feature. So in that, when they're adding in feature in between, then you have to go through this UAT. It's not just only this one, but they also have the various features that should be tested under UAT, user acceptance testing. Okay, so that is more specific to the user. So this is acceptance testing is high level term. Okay, to verify if the system meets the customer specified requirements. Okay, that is called acceptance testing. To verify if the system meets the customer specified requirements is called acceptance testing. Okay, so any questions in this? Okay, so let's move to the load testing. Okay, before going to the load testing, right, I'll just give you some overview of like why we actually need this load testing. Okay, so before this load testing, right, so there is actually performance testing. So performance testing is classified into two types, that is load testing and stress testing. Okay, so let's go to the load testing. Why actually we need this? What is the main necessity? What is the main necessity to do this load testing? Okay, so let's see. Let's take an example here. Okay, so let's say Amazon.com. Let's go to Amazon.com. Okay, so we have this website Amazon.com, and it's pretty it's pretty big. I mean, it's like so many features, so many functionalities. Okay, so let's say before starting this company, right, Amazon, let's say they bought one server, right? They bought one server because to display this website you need server, right? So basically you need everything. You need database, you need functionality, you need front end, you need back end. A lot of hardware stuff goes on the back end, front end stuff. Okay, so a lot of things goes on. Okay, so I'll be a little bit louder Okay, so okay, is it clear now? I'm a little bit loud. Okay, also. Oh really? Okay, I mean it's okay. Like if everyone are having this problem, we can check it out. Maybe I'll check this. That's something I did. Okay, so let's explain this UAT. Okay, once again. So UAT is normally user acceptance testing. Okay, so user acceptance testing. Okay, so I'm not sure which sound because in this room no one is there except me. So I don't know like which sound are you able to hear. So maybe that's is disturbance. Maybe it's a disturbance which which is causing that. Okay. So yeah, that might be some disturbance by transferring the voice. Okay. So this might be issue from this tool itself because this might not be that issue. Okay, so let's quickly. Okay, it's no issues. I mean, if you are not able to hear it properly, I will upload this video. So no big deal. Okay. I mean, if you miss something or if you don't understand something, you can just use this video. Okay, so no big deal. So I'll be a little bit louder so that you can guys can hear it. Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, like I'll check if there's something wrong. I'll check it out. Okay. So. So let me quickly go through like someone requested, right? UAT, they wanted UAT. Okay. So in this UAT, right, it's a like user acceptance testing. Okay. So in this, like, there's the customer actually specified some requirements saying that, hey, this functionality should be added, because the reason that we will be using a lot with these features and, a lot of, we will be using this. So in that case, right, customers requested. So if company thinks they have to go forward with that, then they do UAT. Not only just that, they'll be having other requirements that they'll be testing it. Okay. So that is called user acceptance testing. That means this type of testing is to verify the system meets the customer specified requirements. Okay. That means they have to make sure that customer they have to test whatever the customer has specified. Okay. So that's called UAT. So acceptance testing is a pretty broad term. Okay, it's a pretty broad term. But UAT is like you're going a little bit specific. User. You're talking about the user. Here acceptance testing anyone can do. It's like similar to functional testing, not exactly functional testing. They might have same requirement document, same test plan, or same, but not same testing. Okay, so they will be doing the way they do is completely different. Okay. So let's quickly go through this, right? Performance testing. So performance testing is classified into two types: load testing and stress testing. Okay. Now let me give one an example here. So let's say you have this, Amazon.com, right? You have this Amazon.com. Okay, and this Amazon has bought a new server. They bought a new server, and let's say they have put this to this URL, and you're trying to, whenever you're using this URL, and yeah, it's querying that server. Okay, so that means whenever you're trying to access something, it's hitting the database. Okay, so it's getting query in that server, and you're getting the information. So whatever is there in the front end applications, right, is all there in the database. Okay, all these images and it all is actually in the database. So it's in the server. Okay. Okay. So what happens, right? Let's say they bought one server and they've opened this website Amazon.com. Okay. And it's all over the world, right? It's all this Amazon.com is you can access this URL all over the world. Okay. Anyone can access. Okay. So let's say um, that limit for that server is only like 50 users. Let's say, let's take an example like 50 users. So one server they bought, only 50 users can use it. Beyond that, it's it cannot use it. So it recommended is 50. Okay. Maximum is 50. Recommended is 48. This is recommended is 48. Not more than that. So let's say they have this Amazon.com, and so suddenly 1,000 people are accessing this URL. See, it's only accessing this URL. Okay, not even clicking anything in this. You're not actually clicking in this. Right? They are only accessing this URL. Can anyone say what happens to it? Only one server, and thousands of people are, but maximum is like 50 users can log in. But 1,000 people have logged at once. Not logged, just accessing this URL. That means using this here. That's it. 1,000 people are doing at once. Can anyone tell me like what happens if 1,000 people are accessing for that just one server? Right, exactly. It's like it becomes slow. It becomes slow, or the most application get crashed. Right, get crashed. Why? See, whenever you're trying to access this URL, it is consuming some resources in the server, right? It's consuming some resources. Okay, that means it's using the memory, it's using RAM, it's using it's using some space. Okay, it's using the processor. The processor speed also gets fast. We cannot process these many users at once. So many things are happening at back end. We don't know. So we are just using this front end application. We don't know. Okay, so all these things are happening. Okay. So, what happens, right? So, your application gets slow, and or max it gets crashed, and moreover, if that many users are accessing it at the same time, the server might get blown up. You just blow up the server because it's no way, you can use that many users at once. Okay. So now let's say they bought two servers. Now let's say they bought two servers. So there's something called load balancing. Okay, so let's say if 100 people are logging into that same server, what is server load balancer does that, right? If there are 100 people logging, it takes the 50 users from that server and puts into the another server. Because now you got two servers. So that's called load balancing. So, okay, so that balances the load. So the load balancer actually balances the load between those two servers, and they maintain that load. Okay, so that's what happens at the back end. Okay, so that is about the load putting. So now you can access this. So whenever you're trying to click or something, right? So let's say you're going to all videos. Okay, whenever you're trying to click that, that gets query. That gets query at the backend server from the database and pulls out all the information from that database and shows up into this application. Okay, so that takes some amount of resources, right? Okay, so that's about this, a little bit about the load, how the load actually happens at the backend. Let's go back to our slides. Okay. So that's how the load happens. Okay, so that's how the load gets created. That means people keep on, putting the load on that, and that application, and the application becomes slow, and okay, yeah, and I mean, yes, people who cannot hear, can they like check with someone? I mean, respective managers, can you guys check with your respective managers? Because some people can hear, some people cannot. Yeah, some people can hear actually, some people cannot. Can you guys check with your respective managers? Because not sure, like there might be some issue. Okay. me a second. Okay.
78.
Yeah, please check with your respective managers so that if there's any because some people can hear. Okay, some people can hear.
D.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sure. So let's move to the next. Okay, so who people who cannot hear, like I'm saying this once again, who cannot hear properly, can you check, guys, check with your respective managers? Okay, so because some people can hear. Okay. Okay, so that's no, that is about the load. Okay, so that's how that load, it's like when the user, whenever the user access that URL or users, let's say they are trying to use something. Okay, so they are trying to navigate an application. Okay, from here that I want to use this one. That happens. That gets some load. Okay, that happens some load to the server. Okay, so once. Okay, so that's called load. Okay, so now because of that load, because the application gets slow, because see, since everyone are accepting, when accessing the server, okay, so the server becomes slow for other people, so other people also need to access that same application, right? So that becomes slow. So you need to test load testing. For that reason you need to do load testing. So this is like testing an application under heavy loads, okay, such as testing of website under range, see, heavy load. So what happens? So this load testing is done by the automation tool, automated tool. Okay, it's like load runner, load UI. Okay, so all this is done using a tool. So normally this is not done manually. Okay, manually load testing is not done. Okay. So you need a tool. You need a tool such as load runner, okay, to test this. So what happens, right? In this load runner, say since like 1,000 people, let's say you are using 1,000, we don't have 1,000 people to do this work, right? So how to test? So what this load runner does, right? It creates a virtual user. That means how much the load is applies to 1,000 people. It creates a similar amount of load to that server, and want to see how the application is performing after having that load. Okay, so that is called load testing. So testing an application under heavy loads. Okay, so it's like 1,000 people, 1,000 people are logging in at the same time. That's a load because it's getting to the server. Okay, so that's an example of load testing. Okay, any questions in this load testing? Yeah, Selenium and QTP is not for load testing. That's right. Selenium is for front end applications. So normally this Selenium is for Java applications. Okay, whenever you have Java applications, right? Okay, so use Selenium. Okay, and QTP is is quick test professional. It is whenever you have these .NET applications or any other applications. So Java application, if there are more Java applications, Selenium is good. And if there is like other than Java like .NET, so QTP is good. But both are like similar. Both are tools. Selenium is open source and QTP is like privately owned by HP. Okay, so two different things. Okay. That's load testing. Let's move to the next topic. Stress testing. So stress testing is, you want to put more load. Okay, you want to put not only just load. So previously in the load testing, we just seen like customers are logging into this. Customers are actually accessing this URL. That's it. They're doing nothing. like 1,000 people, 1,000 people are accessing this, we are using. But in stress testing, not only people are logging it, not only people are accessing it, they are also trying to navigate this application. They are so whenever trying to navigate this application, right? That means they are trying to access the database, access the server. So the server has to query. If you're querying that something, let's say you're clicking this. Once you click this, it goes to the server. It queries, that information there, and gives you all the information here. So that means it's stored in the database, right? All the information which is stored in the database shows up here. Okay. So that's a stress testing. Okay, not only just load, but heavy loads. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so stress testing is beyond its specification to check whether any fails, heavy loads such as putting large number of storage capacity, complex database queries, continuous input and system or database load. That means not only just accessing this URL, you're also trying to navigate this page. Okay, you're going to music, you're trying to click that music. So the same thing, like 100 people, 1,000 people are accessing it. So that is stress, because you're not only just using that, but also you're using the various features what is there in this application. Okay. If you click on this, that means there's some database query, right? That's complex database query. That means it's getting query in the server and you're getting all the information here. Okay. So that is stress testing. That means more than load. Okay. That's what stress testing. Any questions in performance testing? So performance testing is two types. It has subdivided into two. That is load testing and stress testing. Load testing is testing an application under heavy loads, such as testing website or you know. So normally you're trying to identify the bottleneck of an application. So using this load testing, right? You're trying to identify the bottleneck of an application. That means where exactly that application fails to load. Where exactly that application fails to load, you are trying to identify that. How many users, like 1,000 users, so it's 998 users or 900 users, so you are trying to identify the bottleneck of an application. This load testing. Stress testing is you're actually putting the heavy loads, more than load. Not even just load, but also putting the complex database queries, continuous input system, so on. That's stress testing. Okay, so let's go to the next topic. Okay, usability testing. So in this, right, this is like user friendliness check. So what you do is like application flow is tested. Okay, so this is called user friendliness testing. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, what is user friendliness testing? Let's say I'm new to Amazon. Let's say this is an example. I'm new to Amazon. Okay, I want I'm a customer. I'm as a customer. I want to buy. Okay, I want to buy, and I need to have some pleasant experience, right? I don't want some bad experience just because I'm paying. I'm paying to this Amazon. Whenever I'm trying to buy something, I'm paying, right? When you're paying something, then you need to get a quality product, right? So user don't want like hardship. You don't want So it should be the application should be user friendly. Okay, user friendly. So let's say as an user, see as I'm a user and I want this sign in button right in front of my face here because I want to buy something. Okay, so I have let's say user want to create an account in Amazon. I want to just click here and want to click here and just buy a product. Okay, I don't want that sign in button to be very in the insignificant place of that website. It don't have to be like it should not be here at this page. And how would user know? So if you are putting the sign in button here, right at the footer, this is like footer, and you are putting somewhere here like shop box, and you are putting sign in button here. How would user know? So that is not a user friendly application, right? Does it make sense? It's not a user friendly because as a user, the sign in button should be right in front of this because I want to buy. I want to create account and I want to buy a lot of things. I don't want sign in button should be some insignificant place, and don't even know that where the sign in button, right? That is an example of user friendliness. Okay, does it make sense? Let's take another. Okay, add to cart. Add to cart. Let's say I'm trying to shop here, and I found like 5 to 6. 5 to 6 to buy, and I want to see the total price. So it should be here, right in here, right, either right side or left side or somewhere. Okay, it should be here. So this should be there. But I don't want like add to cart should be somewhere else where actually in some footer of the page, and I don't know if it exists or not. Okay, so that is user friendliness. So that is usability testing. Okay, so in this what they do is application flow is tested. So as a new user, the application should be easy to understand. Okay, so easy to understand. So they do this usability testing. Okay, so again this usability testing is completely different. Like no, not related to functional testing. Functional testing we don't do usability testing. Okay, so what they do is like system navigation is checked in this testing. Okay, that's usability testing. Any questions in usability testing? Okay, so let's go to the next topic, install and uninstall testing. So this is for client applications. Whenever you install an application, you want to install an application, right? So you have already told you, right? There are two types of application: web application, client application. Web application is always you will be accessing through browser, either Chrome, either Firefox, or the Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, and so on. The client is you need is installed in the system. Like say example Outlook. Outlook is this Outlook. Okay, it has web application too, but here it's installed in the system. Okay, so Outlook, and then you have this Messenger. There are Hangouts. Let's say Hangouts. This is installed in the system. Okay, that is called client applications. For this client application, installations are required because once you install an application, right, there's so many things happens when you install an application. It gets updated in the registry keys, DLL files are created, a lot of things happens. Okay, so you need to test that. You need to test all that thing, all this process that is called install and uninstall testing. So once you install it, you need to test. If you uninstall it, again you need to test that, how the uninstall process are taken. You need to test what files got deleted, what files didn't get deleted. Okay, so that is install and uninstall testing. Okay, so let's move to the next topic, recovery testing. Okay, so normally, right, recovery testing is like whenever, let's say, you have this application and suddenly the application crashes, it crashes. So how soon it recovers from this, crash automatically? I mean, no one is actually involved in this. How it recovers from the crash is called recovery testing. You need to test that. How well a system recovers from the crash or hardware failures. Okay, some server might be slow. See, because of server, the system, the application got crashed. That means it becomes slow. And how soon it recovers from that, from the crash, it's called recovery. And you do for testing to that, it's called recovery testing. Okay, so testing how soon a system recovers from the crashes or hardware failures or other catastrophic problems. Okay, so then recovery testing. And let's go to the next topic. Security testing. Okay, so here we want to test it. Testing how well the system protects against the unauthorized use. Okay, so let's take here an example. Okay, so let's take google.com. So when I'm using this google.com, right, so there is that HTTPS. You see this HTTPS means like hypertext transfer protocol. S means secure. Okay, so before that there was only HTTP. Okay, so now there's like HTTPS. That means it's secure, like hypertext transfer protocol secure. That means why this is secure. Okay, it's secure because whatever you're trying to do in the Google, nobody else is like trying to spy what I'm trying to do. Because whenever you're trying to communicate, so you're trying to communicate with the server, right? You're trying to communicate with the server, and whatever the information stored in the server shows you up. So meanwhile, somebody can have the information what you're trying to do. Let's say you're trying to shop something. You're trying to shop in online in Amazon.com. So this S should be there, HTTPS. Okay, it's not HTTP. If you find this HTTP, then it's not good. It's not good because you're trying to put your credit card information, your SSN. There are so many things you do online. But if you don't see this S, okay, that means somebody can steal that information from this online because you're trying to put something in the server. Okay, somebody can hack it. Okay, so that's called so to test this, to test this kind of this process, right? It's called security testing. I'm just giving an example. It's not only this, so this is an example like HTTPS. Okay, there are other ways to do this security testing. Okay, so here let's go to a definition. System can be penetrated by any hacking way. Testing how well the system protects against unauthorized access. Okay, that's called security testing. Then you have this compatibility testing. Then this compatibility testing, right? So this is kind of, let's say you have this application which is it is installed. Okay, it's installing your system and you're trying to test that. Okay, how that application is compatible? Is it compatible to your operating system? Okay, is it compatible with which OS? Is it Windows? Is it compatible with Windows, or is it compatible with Linux? Compatible with the Mac, and so on. So that kind of testing is called compatibility testing. That means, is it compatible with that environment? What kind of environment you are using? Is it compatible? It might be any application. It might be web application. It can be client application. Okay, that's called compatibility testing. Testing how well the software performs in particular environment. Okay. Then you have this comparison testing. Okay. In this comparison testing, right, you compare the product. Okay, you compare what is the what is strength and weakness of that application. Let's say you have two applications. You want to compare that. Okay. How good is it? How? See, let's take an example. Okay, so you have this application here, and you're trying to compare between Google Chrome. Okay, and you're trying to compare with the Firefox, and you want to compare with the IE, Internet Explorer. Okay, so when you're trying to compare, right? So you want to see like which application is good in which browser, right? So in that case, like I'll be using Chrome is good, or Firefox is good. So that's called comparison testing. You're trying to compare with different browsers. Okay, I'm here in this example. I'm giving you browsers. I don't have to be some browser. Just an example. Okay, to do a comparison testing. Okay, let's go to the next topic. Alpha testing. Okay, so alpha testing. This is actually once the coding has completed. So let's say developer has completed his coding. Okay, he's completed, and he checks out the code. He checks out the code into the test environment. Okay, so he checks out the code. Before that, he wants to do some testing there. That's called alpha testing. Okay, so this is one way. I mean, not necessarily the company standard. It's not a correct company. Every company has its own way of doing it. Okay, but this is one way to do. So before checking out the code in the test environment, developers does the testing. That's called alpha testing. Okay, so let's see. In-house virtual user environment. Testing is done at the end of the development. See this? Testing is done at the end of the development. It's called alpha testing. Okay, let's move to the next topic. Beta testing. So this beta testing, right? What happens in this beta testing is that let's say this company releases the software and all testing is done. Everything is done. what this company wants is they don't want to trust people, right? So company don't want to trust their own employees because they don't know they did the work good, they didn't do the work good, they don't know. So what they do is, right, or they might have missed, you cannot test everything. So what they do, what this company does, they release the no, they release that their application or their the software to the normal users, to everyone. So it's like a demo version. They release that and they say like you test that application, okay? Test that application, find out any bugs and give the bugs to us, and we'll fix it and we'll get a new product. That is called beta testing. That means it is released to the whole world. Whole world can access it, but it's in a demo version. It's a temporary, just a small application, to make sure the all bugs are fixed. So that's called beta testing. Okay. So testing typically done by end users or consumers. Okay. So this is done before releasing the application to commercial. Once the the beta testing is done, right? What they'll do is now you have to pay for the software. Now that was free. Beta testing was free. The software was free, but when they release new application, that is a different, completely different version, a different software, and that will be in production now. Okay, so that is all about the beta testing. Any questions in overall complete various types of testing? Sure. Yeah, someone wanted like comparison testing, right? Let's go to the comparison. No. Let's. UAT testing and beta testing are not same. UAT, see, let me be a little bit specific there, okay? So all this environment is done in the testing environment. Everything is done in the testing. Okay, so let me be a little bit more specific. I was not specific, okay? So yeah, you got it wrong. Okay, UAT and what beta testing. Okay, let's be specific here. UAT is like user acceptance testing. See, user acceptance means let's say I wanted some features. Let's say I'm a techie guy and I just use various applications. So what I do is, right, hey, this application is good, but this let's take it here. Let's take it Amazon.com. Okay. There's some feature which I like. So let's there's a feature which is there in eBay. Let's say there is eBay. Let's go to eBay. Okay. And there is something which I like about the eBay. There is some features notification which Amazon doesn't have. So what is I'll do is like I'll go to contact Amazon and say, hey, can you add this notification because this eBay has, and I want to shop in Amazon, but there is no notification. Okay, so now the customer actually gave some feature to that. So now what these guys will do, right? If they think it's good, if they think it's really required, then they go then add that into the production. They don't add normally to the production, but yeah, if they add new feature, a new coding has to be done, everything should be done. Okay, and they do this acceptance testing. That means so that means there are actually new functionalities been added there. Okay. So normally you are actually verifying the system meets the customer specified requirement. That means customer has specified in this case, and you want to test that. Okay, that is accepted. In beta testing, you are not doing any customers. Here actually you are releasing the product to the customer, saying that hey, there's this application, it's free. No, but it's demo. So nobody tells you that. No, it's the demo. Okay, it's free. No, free to test. So that's the difference. Okay. Here they are releasing to the customers. Does it make sense? Okay, so someone wants one more comparison testing, right? Let's go to the comparison testing. Okay, comparison testing. See, you want to compare between, let's say you have this application, some application. Okay, we'll just take again this Amazon.com. Google.com makes much different, but let's go to Amazon. See, they have developed, Amazon.com has developed an application and you're trying to compare that same application in, let's say, Firefox, right? Or I'll go to Opera. No, I have this Opera. Okay. Now, these are two different browsers here, right? There are two different browsers. One I'm trying to see in the Chrome, and the other I'm trying to see the same application. How does it looks like in Opera? Okay. Yeah, I mean it's like not much difference here. You see the same thing. Okay, so it doesn't make much difference. But you want to want to compare, like the way of navigation, how fast this is. This if you click on this is normally the performance of this is pretty fast. But Chrome it is taking more little bit time. So that's called comparison. You're comparing between the two. See, okay, here as an example, we are comparing between the two browsers. You're comparing in the Chrome browser, you're comparing the Opera browser, and you're trying to see what are the good features and what are the strengths and what are the weakness. Okay, how does it perform here and how does it perform there? Okay, so that is comparison testing. Make sense? Okay, so comparing the strength and weakness with the previous versions of similar products. Previous versions, it can also be a previous version. Okay. Just like we have done with Firefox, right? Firefox we have tested, let's say we have tested an application in Firefox, okay. Okay, someone wants this load and stress testing, right? Let's go quickly to that. So load testing, so like performance testing is consists of two types, right? Load testing and stress testing. Load testing is where you're trying to give an users are trying to access this URL. Okay. And not 1-2 users. Remember, like 1,000 people at the same time, at the same moment, same time, you're trying to access it. Because let's say, Google.com, right? Google.com has million servers all over the world. So everyone accesses only Google.com. So at this moment, how many people might be accessing? So at that time, when it hits it, how much load it's trying to create. So that is called load testing. Okay, so it is like testing an application under heavy load, such as testing a website. Okay, testing a website, that's called load testing. But in the stress testing, you're not only just giving a load, but also you're actually adding more than load. Here, what you're trying to do, okay, you're also querying it. Okay, you're typing here, or you're clicking here and going into the next module of Google.com. And not only one, again, 1,000 people are doing the same thing. That is called stress testing. Okay, so as a definition point, let's go to the definition. Stress testing is to test beyond its load, to check beyond its load, like large number of storage capacity, complex database queries. That complex database queries, in sense, you're trying to access something. You're not going to write some query or something. That means automatically it gets query to the database. Nobody is doing manually. Okay, and it's continuous input and system. It's called stress testing. All this you are giving into this. That's why it's called stress testing. Okay. Any more questions? So I'll be taking like 15 minutes more because we have already it's 11:30. Right? Does anyone have any issues? 15 to 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes, but 20. Does anyone have any issues? Okay. So I know you guys have class, right? 12 o'clock. Just you guys can you can stay, or like if you want, like you can leave, so you can have that recording in the end. Okay, so any questions? Okay, so we are actually done with this various types of testing. Now let's move to the actual testing, where you will be actually doing the testing, right? Okay, so now let's say you've got this application. Let's say you've gone the project. You've gone the project, and you have this meetings and a lot of meetings going on, and your boss suddenly says, okay, why don't you test this application? Okay, your manager will say, why don't you try this? Okay, so now they'll they'll give least amount of information, so don't expect too much information from them. Okay. Okay. So we'll say, why don't you test this application? So in that point, in that scenario, you don't know what is the URL, you don't know what is the application, you don't know. You are just, just it's in the air, you know. So they will say, your boss says, hey, we had this guy, we had this, this guy, and he's a pro, in testing and QA. So why don't we give this some work to him? Why don't we give some work to her? Okay, so now you got work, right? Now you got a work. In the meeting they'll say, okay, now you got work. Now, once you get it, once the meeting is over, you will be just going into it and, you'll be looking, so what kind of application? So let's say you check with the lead saying that, hey, what is the application that I need to test and what? So you'll be working on these three, things he will be explaining you. Now, for some, you have figured it out. You with the colleagues and with your friends, with your lead and with your dev guys, you figure it out this URL, and you found out that this is the application that you have to test, right? This is the application that you need to test. Okay. So now, okay. Now you are not going to ask what I need to test. That's that's outdated questions. No more. So you have been hired, for as an experienced guy, and you are not supposed to ask this question like what I need to test. That's the rule now. Okay. So by mistake, then you shouldn't ask. At least not to start with, because okay, some projects they are you need to be specific and you need to understand. Okay, that is put aside that, but just by giving that application, you don't ask directly, okay, what I need to test, because you're supposed to know when you get an application such like this. So you need to know what you need to test, right? You need to know what functional testing, integration testing, incremental integration testing, or performance testing, or regression testing. Well, you need to know that. Okay, so what all those testing. So now you will be, let's say here we'll be working only on functional testing. Let's say you have to work on functional testing. So as a user, as an employee, or as a QA, I'll test everything. So they have given this application and they said, okay, start testing. Now I'll test everything here, right? So there's a lot of things here to test. I don't have requirements. Let's say no, I don't have requirements. I don't have BRD. I don't have test plan. I don't have test, test strategy document. I don't have migration document. I don't have anything. Let's not worry about it for now. Okay, don't worry about it. Just see you got this application and it's good, working fine. Okay, we need to test. Let's take here. Okay, so now they have given you an application and you don't know. Okay, so you are just playing around and you want to click this enter GMO online and you figure it out. Okay, so this is like this is point of sale. It's not exactly point of sale. So it's like kind of Amazon company like which sells these products. Okay, good. And so then you want to test this application by putting and just put this. So you want to buy this product. Basically, you're trying to test. Okay, so this is you're trying to test, and you're trying to test in test environment. So all this will be in test environment. And go ahead with click this order, and you fill up this information here. Put in highway, yes, okay. And then just to figure it out something for this. American Express. Okay, and 12/2017. Let's put that here. And the billing address is same as shipping address. I'll just put that. Okay, and place an order. No, thanks. And I just bought a product, right? I just bought a product which with billing address is this, and my shipping address is 1480 US Highway, and this goes to that. That means I bought is some product like 3% Dome, that's Dome 10, and it is going to ship, and it will get confirmation email to you, and it's going to ship it soon. And that's what you're trying to test here. But so that is one flow. Okay, so you actually went through that flow. That was a positive scenario. See, in this positive scenario, you went that flow, but you didn't find any issues. But that's not true. Okay, that's not true. Just because you have entered some information which was there here, you didn't find any issue. That means that application is good. No, this application is working, and you sign up that okay, everything is good. All the test cases are passed. Now there will be issues in production, and you are going to get catch for that. Okay, you are getting you will be caught. Okay, because this goes into production, the same application. So nobody will check developer because developer jobs are done. Everyone will check tester. They'll catch your neck saying that, hey, what's this application you said you tested? What is it? So now, okay, so that is one flow, but we actually not tested anything there. Let's go here. Let's analyze these applications one by one. Let's analyze it. Okay, how we are going to test this. Okay, so we have tested that. That looks good for 10 people. Let's say I'm trying to test this application. So I'm putting this, large quantities. Let's say I'm trying to test with these large quantities because corporate, you're buying for a corporate environment, and we want like very large numbers. Okay, because we want to buy this. Okay, so I'm trying to order these many quantities and trying to place an order. Right now, I see this issue. Can anyone tell me what exactly the issue is? There's an issue here. Okay, so now you have got this place order option here, but there is an issue. Can anyone tell me what is the issue here? So I'm trying to place an order, right? I'm trying to order this quantity, some large quantities. Waterfall methodology is good, or helical methodology. Oh, somebody has. Can everyone mute your phone? Okay. Okay. Exactly. The issue is, right? The issue is shipping and handling. So do you really think when you're trying to order these many large quantities, USPS will just, charge you for $5 for these many large quantities? It's just shipping and handling $5. That's it. And this is a huge, this is a huge quantity here. Okay, does USP, do you really think USP will charge you? Okay, at the end of the day, there might be free shipping or something. Okay, the company will offer, but this is not supposed to be here. This $5, no, this doesn't really, it's not like $5. So this is an issue. So this is a bug. This is a bug in an application. So you need to find out. So this is what we find out, right? Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, so let's go to the another. So you guys understood, right? So this is one issue. Okay, so I'll be giving you homework in this. Okay, you guys need to come up with various scenarios. So what you have to do is you have to come up with scenarios. Actually, there are like 3 scenarios: positive scenario, negative scenario, and boundary values. Okay, so we have just tested as a positive scenario. That means you are trying to order this. Okay, so that's it. So let's take one more issue. So I'll be showing you 3 issues. Remaining issues you need to find out. So there are so many issues in this website. There's so many issues, and you will be able to find it once you test this application. Okay, so let's say, okay, I'm just placing this order 100. Okay, quantity 100, place an order. Okay, that's 100 is accepted. But let's click here. Let's see, this URL 3% debt. This is a URL, right? So that's why it's changing it to hand cursor. Remember this hand cursor URL should change it to hand cursor. Click on this. So this is put it here. Okay, so don't worry about the number. You can check it in random numbers. Okay, so don't worry. It has to be any specific. Let's let's see here. Let's take another example. Okay, so don't worry about numbers. Don't just one or two number doesn't matter. It's like the way you are actually trying to do. It's not just the numbers. Okay. Okay, so here it's saying like here it's like in stock 23. That means they have in stock with 23. But here I'm trying to order this quantity 100 and it's getting accepted. So when I'm trying to go this, okay, and trying to do this. So I just made a payment. Okay, I just made a payment which I'm going to ship only 23 in stock 23, right? But I ordered what? How many? 100. How a company will ship you 100 products when they have stock of 23? Does it make sense? Because here it says 23. Now, what happens? It's kind of defects, right? The customer gets only 23 and customer gets frustrated saying that, hey, I ordered for 100. Where are the other products? I only got 23. Okay. So you displayed here 23, but there is no warning here saying that, hey, it's out of order and out of quantity. Okay, we don't have that many. There's no warning here. That's a bug. Does everyone agree? That's a bug, serious bug. That makes that kind of issues, right? What happens? Right? Customer gets frustration and they lose the business. So at the end of the day, it's business is getting hurt, right? Because here it says like 23, install 23. That means if you want to order more than that, it has to be some warning there saying that, hey, you cannot order more than 23. But I am ordering hundreds, not showing any issue. Okay. So that's an issue there. Okay, that's a second defect. Okay. So make sure when you're trying to do homework, right, don't repeat these defects. These defects I am telling you to know how to find out. You need to figure it out. There's so many defects telling you just navigate every application in this page. It will take just 1 2 hours. That's it. And find the issues. Don't come up with issues which I have told you. Okay, so every time, like every class I say the same thing and people do the same thing. Don't come up with issues what I'm telling you. Okay, this is the issue what I'm trying to give you an example. But this is not what I want. I wanted a unique issue from everyone. Okay, there's so many issues that you can fill up everything. Okay. Okay, so let's get to the another bug. Let's find out another bug. Okay. Let's another bug here. Okay. So let's say. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to order a quantity which is A. A is not a quantity, right? A is alphabet. Okay. Trying to order this. It's an order. Okay, makes sense. So this is showing an error. Please enter only digits in the fields. Okay, makes sense. Oh. Oh. Okay, let's take a look. Let's close it. Okay, so let's go back to this application again. Okay, so click on this. And what I'm trying to do is like ordering quantity A. There's an order. Okay. And now this has become, let's take another application. Yeah, I don't want to put that checkbox, the reason, right? Because it will not give another error. So I don't know that is error or not. So that's the reason I don't want to put the checkbox. Okay. So I'll take the 15 minutes. Okay. So if anyone have any issues, let me know. Okay. Okay. So let's go now. Okay. So enter the amount now. And I'm just trying to order this quantity A, right? And place an order. It makes sense. Okay, please enter. Okay. So you cannot order a quantity which is in alphabet, right? A makes sense. Okay. So there's some valid error. So it's supposed to show up. Okay, it's good. Now, I'm, now I'm like, I am not using this mouse cursor, but I'm just using enter, and it's going through it. So see, I'm trying to order a quantity A. Okay, I'm using the quantity A, and to be shipped, unit price is $299 and total price is 0. Okay, and shipping, I don't know why I have to pay for shipping for nothing. Okay, grand total for $5, and I'm getting paid, which I'm not getting shipped anything for quantity A. That is a bug. How can you ship an quantity which is alphabet? You can only ship only 1, 2 numbers, right? 1 number, 2, 3, 4, so on. You cannot have this, which you have to quantity A and you're going to ship it. Doesn't make any sense. Does everyone agrees with that? So that's the third bug. Okay, so does anyone have any questions in this? So we have, tested this positive scenario, negative scenario. Negative scenario is like something which is other than, see, negative scenarios is something, this is like edit box, right? So when you are trying to put this number, that means it's a positive scenario because it's supposed to accept this positive number. Okay, with negative scenarios, okay, so negative scenarios is something other than numbers. Okay, so A, B, C, D, and so on. And boundary values is something like, if you put 0.01, okay, so that is boundary values. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, someone asked, right? So how do we know, like, the whole application is bug free? No, we don't know. Nobody knows. See, you have to, as a tester, as a QA analyst, you need to have an opinion. Like every application has bugs, and honestly, every application has bugs. Okay, so I'll tell you, even if you show me the Google, right? I'll show you bugs in that in the Google. Okay, we'll just discuss that later. Okay, there's also bugs in the Google, and there's so many things. Okay, so we don't know. Okay, we don't know, like, it's a bug free. So, but as a tester, as a QA analyst, you need to have that opinion saying that no, this application has bugs, and honestly, it has bugs. Okay, that's why they hired you, right? They hired you to find the bugs, and fixing is not your job. So don't worry about fixing. Fixing is done by the developers. Developers will take care of fixing. But you need to find out, you need to find these bugs. That's your job, right? That you need to do. Okay. Any questions in overall? So this is like, this is an application which I'll be giving you homework, and you need to figure it out. So just don't stick to only this button. So there we have only used this button, right? So there are three buttons. Make sure you use these three buttons. Okay. You don't come up with something which doesn't exist. So I don't have document for this BRD. So don't say like, no, this image should be in the right place. It should be in the left side. Just don't come up with such kind of scenarios. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? So make sure you guys use this all the three buttons. Okay. This button, you have only tested this. Enter GM online, and you found this. Okay. And next you go to the about this GMO. Okay. Use this button and try to see test that. And again browser test page. All the three buttons you have. Okay. And make sure you guys need to test. So I'll be giving you. So, okay. Okay. So, people who don't have, so send me an email who are actually, not in the list. Okay. Send me an email so that, I'll give all the recordings, and all this information to you in the notes. Okay. Just send me an email at manu@itamerica.com. Okay. And homework, I'll send you the instructions. I'll send you the instructions through email. So you'll get an email. So mostly you'll get before 4. So okay, so whoever does that, send me an email. Okay, so that's what I mean. Like send me an email so that because one or two people I can copy here. If like so many people, right? I cannot do this, right? It will take so much time. Okay, so I'll send you an email for the homeworks. Okay, 2 homeworks mostly. Let's see. Yeah, 2 homeworks because yesterday we didn't have any homeworks, right? See, that's what I meant, right? Okay, everyone, see, whoever doesn't have, send me an email. Okay, so that I'll add you in my list so that I'll be sending you. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Anything? So make sure you guys test all this, all these 3 buttons, and oops, and test this application too. I just told you only 3 bugs, but there are so many. Trust me, that like you come up with 10, 15 issues. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can ask any questions. You can email. Okay, or you can call me. Okay. So better to ask in email. Okay. So maybe. Yeah, I'll be sending you, URL, and I'm sorry, I'll be sending the video recording and the notes. Okay, and homework too. Actually, the homework and video recording. Okay. Okay. So, okay, make sure you guys do the homework. Okay. because that's. See the reason, right? This is actually new tool, and I don't have that, um, access to that. Okay, so cannot use that MP4, like I will try. So I will try to give, but it's not easy because this is a new tool, and just don't have this option of recording that. Okay, so I'm sorry, an option of uploading that in the cloud. Okay, so it has cloud, but okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll be having issues with that app because you can use it anywhere in your mobile, anywhere. So I don't think any issues. Okay, so if no one has any questions, can we close this class for today? Okay, yeah, thank you guys.